In 1929, the small, quiet town of St. James, Arkansas, was jolted by a crime so gruesome it sent shockwaves through the rural community. The victim was Connie Franklin, a drifter known for his hard labor, humble demeanor, and dreams of settling down with his fiancée, Tillar Ruminaire. But those dreams were shattered when Franklin was reported missing after a violent encounter deep in the Ozarks. According to eyewitnesses, Connie Franklin was brutally attacked, beaten, and burned to death by a group of local men. His supposed murder took place in the woods, far from civilization, where justice often relied on word of mouth and the strength of community bonds. The gruesome details of the attack, paired with the brutal manner in which his remains were supposedly left, created a story that quickly spread. Local authorities, fueled by the testimony of key witnesses, began a search for Franklin's body, hoping to bring closure to a crime that had rattled the community to its core. But as investigators combed the area, gathering what little evidence they could, rumors began to swirl. The exact details of the murder, the whereabouts of Franklin's body, and the motives behind the attack all seemed clouded in mystery. Was this a case of cold-blooded murder, or was there something more sinister hiding in the shadows? As tension grew in the town, law enforcement was determined to uncover the truth. Yet, no one could have predicted the bizarre turn this case was about to take, a turn that would leave the community and eventually the entire nation questioning reality itself. With Connie Franklin presumed dead, the search for his body began. Local authorities, driven by the witness testimonies, combed the remote Ozark woods where the crime was said to have occurred. The chilling details provided by Franklin's fiancée, Tillar Ruminaire, and other witnesses painted a disturbing picture of a brutal attack, followed by Franklin's body being burned beyond recognition. As the investigation deepened, the search party uncovered what they believed to be charred human remains and bone fragments scattered in the area described by the witnesses. The fragments were collected as crucial evidence, adding weight to the witnesses' horrifying accounts. To the townspeople, this grim discovery seemed like the final confirmation of Connie Franklin's tragic end. Authorities soon arrested 5 men who were believed to have carried out the gruesome act. Among them were local farmers and townsmen, some with ties to Franklin, and others with rumored bad blood. The motive for the murder remained unclear, but tension in the rural community ran high. Could it have been a personal vendetta, or was there more to the story than anyone realized? As the case against the suspects grew, the community found itself on edge, shocked that such a heinous crime had occurred in their quiet town. However, the town's thirst for justice and answers was about to be met with one of the most shocking twists in criminal history, one that no one could have predicted. The supposed discovery of Franklin's remains seemed to close one chapter in the investigation, but it was only the beginning of a story that would defy logic and leave the town and the country questioning everything they thought they knew about life, death, and truth. Just as the community braced itself for a murder trial that seemed open and shut, the case took an unimaginable turn, one that no one could have anticipated. In a twist straight out of a ghost story, Connie Franklin, the very man whose brutal murder was the talk of the town, walked back into St. James, alive. Disheveled but very much breathing, the man who claimed to be Connie Franklin appeared just as the trial for his murder was about to begin. His sudden reappearance sent shockwaves through the small town and left both law enforcement and the townspeople in a state of disbelief. How could a man, declared dead, whose remains were supposedly found, now be standing in front of them? Was this truly Connie Franklin, or an imposter trying to pull off an elaborate hoax? Witnesses to the supposed murder, including Franklin's fiancée, Tillar Ruminaire, were adamant that they had seen him die in a horrific attack. They described the blood, the burning, and the final moments of Franklin's life in excruciating detail. Yet now, here he was, denying any such event had taken place. The courtroom, once prepared to convict 5 men for a heinous crime, was now filled with confusion and doubt. What had actually happened in the woods that night? Was Franklin's reappearance a case of mistaken identity, or had the town been caught in a web of lies and falsehoods? As the mystery deepened, the townspeople found themselves torn between believing in a miracle or suspecting a conspiracy far more sinister than anyone could have imagined. The return of Connie Franklin turned what seemed to be a straightforward case into a puzzle of ghostly proportions, and the answers were only getting more elusive. As the man claiming to be Connie Franklin stood before the court, the investigation took a sharp turn, leaving everyone grasping for answers. Was this really the man who had been reported murdered, or was it an imposter trying to deceive an entire community? The trial, once focused on murder, shifted to a bizarre debate over identity and truth. Witnesses, including Tiller Ruminer, Franklin's fiancée, were unwavering in their accounts of his violent death. They described, in vivid detail, how they had seen him beaten, burned, and left for dead in the Ozarks. But now, standing before them, was someone claiming to be Connie Franklin, insisting that no such attack had occurred. This created a perplexing mystery. Who was lying? Local law enforcement and townspeople began questioning whether the man was an imposter. Could someone really return from the dead, or was this part of an elaborate hoax? The man bore a striking resemblance to Franklin, but his memory of the past events seemed suspiciously vague. He denied many details of his life, raising doubts among those who had once known him. Rumors swirled throughout the town. Some believed that Franklin had faked his death to escape a troubled past, while others were convinced that this was an entirely different man attempting to exploit the situation. With no forensic technology to confirm his identity, it became a battle of testimonies and character judgments. Adding to the confusion, Franklin's reappearance threatened to overturn the murder charges against the 5 men on trial, leading many to wonder if the entire crime had been staged from the start. The tension in the courtroom was palpable. Was the town being fooled, or was there a darker truth lurking beneath the surface? As the trial unfolded, the once clear lines between victim and fraud, crime and hoax, became increasingly blurred. With both sides fiercely defending their version of events, the question remained: was this really Connie Franklin, or had a master manipulator stepped into the spotlight? As the trial progressed, St. James, Arkansas, became a battleground of belief, divided between those who accepted the man's claim to be Connie Franklin and those convinced that the real Franklin was dead. The courtroom drama spilled into the streets, with neighbors, friends, and even family members taking sides in what had become one of the most bizarre cases the town had ever witnessed. On one side were those who believed this man was truly Franklin. Perhaps he had suffered a traumatic event that made him forget key details of his life, or maybe he had fled the area to escape something in his past. They argued that his striking resemblance and the timing of his return couldn't be a coincidence. These supporters saw Franklin's return as a strange but undeniable reality. On the other side were the doubters, many of whom included the witnesses to the alleged murder. They held firm to their belief that they had watched Connie Franklin die in a brutal attack, and nothing could convince them otherwise. To them, this man was an imposter, someone who was trying to exploit the chaos surrounding the case for his own benefit. His vague memories, inconsistent details, and evasiveness fueled suspicions that a grand deception was at play. The courtroom became a theater of public opinion, where fact and fiction blurred more with each passing day. In a time before modern forensic methods, the truth relied heavily on memory and personal conviction. Lawyers, townspeople, and witnesses battled over every detail, and the tension reached a fever pitch as more and more people weighed in on what they believed had really happened. Rumors and gossip swept through the town, turning a legal case into a community-wide spectacle. Some whispered that Franklin had faked his own death to avoid trouble with the law, while others speculated that the real Connie Franklin had died, and this man was part of a larger conspiracy. The divide in the town only deepened as the trial drew closer to a verdict. People wanted answers, but the more questions were asked, the more convoluted the story became. With no clear resolution in sight, St. James was left torn between what seemed like 2 equally implausible possibilities. A man had returned from the dead, or the town had fallen victim to one of the most audacious hoaxes in criminal history. As the trial reached its climax, the tension in the courtroom was palpable. Both sides had presented their arguments, but the jury now faced the daunting task of deciphering the truth amid a tangled web of deceit, speculation, and conflicting narratives. After days of deliberation, the jury returned with their verdict, and the atmosphere was electric with anticipation. As the foreman stood to announce the decision, the room held its breath. Would they declare the accused men guilty, or would they believe in the miraculous return of Connie Franklin? In a surprising twist, the jury found the accused men not guilty. The decision sent shockwaves through the community. To many, it felt like a betrayal. The belief in Franklin's murder had been so strong that the acquittal left them reeling. The town, already divided, erupted into discussions filled with outrage and disbelief. The man claiming to be Connie Franklin walked out of the courtroom free, but his future remained uncertain. The doubts surrounding his identity loomed large, leaving him with a mix of triumph and isolation. For the townsfolk who had believed in his return, questions remained. Who was he really? What happened to the real Connie Franklin? As time passed, Connie Franklin, or whoever he was, began to fade from public view. He vanished from the spotlight, leaving the mystery surrounding his identity unresolved. The case lingered in the town's collective memory, morphing into a local legend, a tale of a man who returned from the dead, or a deceptive con man who played a dangerous game. The unanswered questions continued to haunt St. James. Some residents speculated that Franklin had faked his death, while others pondered the possibility of mistaken identity. The real truth seemed forever shrouded in mystery, creating an aura of intrigue that only deepened over time. In the end, the Connie Franklin case became more than just a legal battle. It turned into a cautionary tale about the fragility of truth and the complexities of human perception. As the echoes of the trial faded, one thing remained clear. Sometimes the most haunting mysteries are the ones that leave us with more questions than answers. The Connie Franklin case, with its bizarre twists and unsettling revelations, became a lasting chapter in the annals of American folklore. Over the years, the story transformed from a local scandal into a fascinating mystery that continues to intrigue true crime enthusiasts, historians, and casual observers alike. In the aftermath of the trial, the name Connie Franklin became synonymous with the themes of deception and the elusiveness of truth. Many viewed the case as a cautionary tale about the dangers of relying too heavily on witness testimony in the absence of concrete evidence. It highlighted the human tendency to fill in the blanks with belief, even when reality seems far more chaotic and uncertain. For the residents of St. James, the mystery became a part of their identity. Tales of the man who returned from the dead circulated in local bars and cafes, captivating new generations of curious minds. Some even speculated that the events surrounding Franklin's supposed murder and miraculous return were intertwined with other unsolved mysteries of the region, deepening the lore surrounding the Ozarks. The Connie Franklin case also sparked discussions about the broader implications of identity and personal truth. It raised questions about what it means to truly know someone, the reliability of memory, and how easily perception can be manipulated. In a world increasingly fascinated by true crime, the case serves as a poignant reminder of the complex relationship between fact and fiction. To this day, historians and amateur sleuths continue to sift through the remnants of the case, analyzing newspaper clippings and old court records in hopes of uncovering new insights. Online forums buzz with speculation and theories, proving that the intrigue surrounding Connie Franklin remains as potent as ever. Ultimately, the legacy of the Connie Franklin hoax is a reflection of humanity's never-ending quest for truth and understanding. It teaches us that even in the most perplexing of circumstances, the answers we seek may remain just out of reach, forever lurking in the shadows of our collective memory, waiting for someone brave enough to dive back into the depths of the unknown. As we conclude our journey through the bizarre and haunting tale of Connie Franklin, we're left with more questions than answers. This case reminds us that truth can often be stranger than fiction, and sometimes the line between reality and deception becomes blurred beyond recognition. The mystery of whether Connie Franklin truly returned from the dead, or if he was an imposter playing a dangerous game, will likely remain unresolved. But what we do know is that this case has become a part of the fabric of American folklore, a story that captivates the imagination and challenges our understanding of identity and truth. Thank you for joining me on this exploration into one of the most perplexing mysteries of the early 20th century. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more deep dives into the world's most intriguing cases. What do you think happened to Connie Franklin? Let me know your theories in the comments below. Until next time, keep questioning, keep exploring, and stay curious about the unknown.